History may be about to repeat itself, and every Tesla investor needs to pay attention. Tesla stock price has been dropping, and it's been signaling the need for immediate action to boost the stock. Analysts have also given their takes on how and when Tesla stock is going to return to its true valuation. But what if Tesla needs more than just predictions and forecasts to get its stock price back to high levels again? And what if this time it's going to take some pretty drastic moves to make that happen? Well, what we mean is that what moves are going to have to be taken to make sure Tesla does a share buyback or something similar to keep things afloat. Well, today we're going to critically analyze the possibility of a share buyback for Tesla, and why the automaker needs to adopt this strategy, and when could be the best time for Tesla to buy back some of its shares. So stay with us as we find out the answers to these questions. Let's dive in.
All right, good evening here. Good afternoon out west. I am Brian Sullivan. We begin tonight with some breaking news. Tesla investors are losing a little bit of money right now. Stock is down. Tesla tonight warning that this year's sales growth will be less than it was last year. Some big money investors, they may have anticipated this news. Tesla's down 16% so far this year, but as always, context is key. Investors nearly doubled their money in Tesla last year. All right, that being said, let's get more on everything we know about Tesla's last quarter and what may be ahead from here. Phil LeBeau listening in on Tesla's earnings call. It ended a short time ago. Phil, what were some of the takeaways?
We'll hear from Elon Musk in just a little bit here, Brian. Good news, bad news in terms of the fourth quarter, and not such great news in terms of the outlook. Let's start first off with the fourth quarter. It was a miss on the top and the bottom line, not by a lot. 71 cents a share earnings versus 74 cents a share earnings estimate. The gross auto margins, now this is the good news last quarter. They moved. Went up to 17.1%. The street was expecting 15.7%. By the way, that's an improvement, 17.1 versus 16.3 in the third quarter. But the outlook for 2024 deliveries, they didn't give a guidance. They didn't give us a number. They simply said notably lower. Why? Because they are transitioning and preparing to ramp up next generation vehicle production starting at their Gigafactory in Texas. Here's Elon Musk a short time ago.
The first manufacturing location for this will be at our Gigafactory and headquarters in Austin, Texas. And then we'll follow that up with other locations around the world. Probably the factory we'll build in Mexico will be second, and then we'll be looking to identify a third location, perhaps by the end of this year or early next, outside of North America.
That is where the next generation vehicle will be built. And by the way, he thinks they might be able to begin production. It's scheduled to start second half of 25. Keep in mind that that's just a projection at this point. This is the other thing that spooks investors right now. They delivered 1.8 million vehicles last year. The street was expecting them to give guidance of at least delivering 2.1 million vehicles. There was no guidance given. They end the year 2023 as the number one EV maker in the world. They are number one in EVs, but that crown is starting to erode a little bit. Why? Because you've got Chinese automakers, in particular BYD, nipping at their heels. BYD, by the way, topped Tesla in the fourth quarter, not for the entire year, but in the fourth quarter. And Elon was asked about the growth of Chinese automakers and their growth around the world. Here's what he had to say.
The Chinese car companies are the most competitive car companies in the world. So I think they will have significant success outside of China, depending on what kind of tariffs or trade barriers are established. Frankly, I think if there are not trade barriers established, they will pretty much demolish most other car companies in the world. So they're extremely good.
The prospect of a Tesla share buyback is enough to leave investors in their state of awe. As such, a move has the potential to greatly impact investor confidence and thus influence the stock's performance. Long before now, the idea of a share buyback by Tesla has caught the attention of many investors and industry enthusiasts alike, and it's not too surprising considering the impressive journey that the automaker has been embarking upon in recent years. As Tesla continues to make waves in the automotive industry, the implications of a share buyback on investor sentiment cannot be overstated. In fact, the concept of a share buyback in the context of Tesla stock is truly remarkable, and it holds immense potential for Tesla investors. Hey guys, welcome back to Tesla Tomorrow. In the ever-evolving landscape where innovation is key, Tesla continues to surprise investors with some pretty bold strategies. And the possibility of a share buyback announcement only adds another layer to excitement that's already building upon the awe-inspiring narrative surrounding this remarkable company. Lately, Tesla stock's been struggling and investors are itching for some good news. Something to calm their fears and thus reassure them of any potential behind Tesla's business. In these months of trial, Tesla is making efforts to turn things around. But could the automaker opt for a share buyback to save its stock? And what is the possibility of Tesla doing a share buyback at a time like this? Let's find out. But before we do, if you like this type of content, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on post notifications to keep up to date on everything going on with Tesla. To give a little context to this, a share buyback occurs when a company repurchases its own shares from existing shareholders, effectively reducing the number of outstanding shares in the market. And in the case of Tesla, this strategic move adds immense significance. If Tesla were to do a share buyback, then some of its shares would be seen as an attempt by the car company to demonstrate its confidence in its growth and financial stability. And by repurchasing shares, Tesla will signal the market a bold vision, a signal that will show that it believes its stock is undervalued and that investing in itself is a wise decision. Furthermore, a share buyback can have several positive effects for existing shareholders, and we'll consider some of these in just a moment.
Take a look at shares of Tesla. Again, under pressure, now trading under $200 for the first time in a long time, Brian. I haven't looked the last time that they were trading under $200. But the bottom line is this, when you look at Tesla, yes, the energy storage business is growing, but this question of the Chinese automakers, it's not just with EVs. Yes, they are growing quickly in EVs, but it's all vehicles. Internal combustion engine vehicles as well as electric vehicles. We have talked about it for months. We were over in Europe showing the growth of Chinese automakers over there. They are coming and coming on strong. Now, whether or not you can say, well, that's the reason Tesla is not giving guidance for next year, that's too much to say. The bottom line is this. Tesla is facing a slower EV market worldwide, and they are trying to transition to this newer, lower-cost next-generation vehicle that they, at this point, Brian, are projecting to begin production on in the second half of 2025.
I'm not going to ask you to read Elon Musk's mind. I'm not sure, Phil, anybody could do that. He says trade barriers. Do you think that he is sort of subtly referring to maybe an outright ban of BYD or other China-made EVs in the United States?
Well, they're not very big in sales right now, Brian. There's a 25% tariff if you bring a vehicle in from China. So, you know, do you want to do an outright ban? Okay, maybe you can do that, but they're not going to be big in the U.S. as long as that 25% barrier is there. Yes, you can bring a Volvo in here, and eventually you'll see some of the Geely Volvo production begin here in the United States. I don't think that he's talking just about the United States. I think he's talking about other parts of the world where they are expanding very quickly. Mexico, Europe, really any country, a lot of these countries have very limited trade sanctions, if you will. And so the Chinese have said, great, we've got all this production and our market has been slowing down over here. But guess what? We can take some of these and start shipping them around the world. That's at the heart of the discussion.
The first and probably most important benefit of a share buyback is that it increases earnings per share, since there are fewer shares outstanding, and this can potentially lead to an increase in the value of each individual share. Higher EPS indicates improved profitability on a per-share basis, and it can attract more interest from both existing and potential shareholders. Additionally, a share buyback can also help boost shareholder confidence and attract new investors. It is important to consider the market reaction following a Tesla share buyback announcement. The important impact of an investor sentiment and the overall market dynamics can be truly astonishing. Also, positive reactions from shareholders may result in increased buying activity, further fueling stock price appreciation. And one key factor that investors closely monitor is stock price appreciation. A share buyback can often signal to the market that a company believes that its shares are undervalued, leading to increased demand and subsequently driving up share prices. So basically, the effect of a share buyback on investor confidence and stock performance could be nothing short of remarkable. And as investors eagerly anticipate such news, they have to keep an eye out for any awe-inspiring developments that could potentially positively impact the investment portfolios of themselves and peers. So why do we think that Tesla could have a share buyback so soon? Well, for one, there's this pretty big elephant in the room. There's a possible reason behind this share buyback, and it could be Tesla's strong financial position. With their cash reserves on the positive side despite price cuts, it wouldn't be surprising if Tesla decides to utilize some of these funds to repurchase their own stocks. Tesla's commitment to innovation and sustainable energy solutions has actually garnered pretty significant attention and support from investors. And as the automaker continues to revolutionize the automotive industry with electric vehicles and renewable energy initiatives, a share buyback could serve as a strategic investment in bolstering investor confidence. For every Tesla investor, it will be fascinating to see how this potential share buyback unfolds for Tesla. With its visionary leadership and continued focus on pushing boundaries, one thing's for sure, Tesla is continuously striving to create awe-inspiring opportunities for both itself and shareholders.
Forget the stock name. They missed on expectations around revenues and earnings. So of the 10 or 11% it's down, that's probably a third of the reason. To me, the two-thirds reason, the other two-thirds, is that when it comes to guidance for 2024, that margins, we're not sure. So Elon was being honest, but the market doesn't want lack of clarity, and also volume growth. So I think the stock is down appropriately, being the lack of positive guidance, and they missed the reduced numbers to begin with. I think that as in like short term, the stock is in no man's land. You want to see that stock base out at 180. If it can't base that, you're going to be in the 160s. So, rule number one, do not buy a stock on a day like today. You have to see that flush out. As you know, I entered the stock around 120 and 150. I sold calls on some of those that got called away at a higher price. I'm just in the stock right now. I would look over the next couple of months. So I think it will be dead money over the next couple of months. Once things settle, I'm long-term bullish on the name. I think the manufacturing prowess is incredible. But right now, you really just can't touch this name because I think the sellers will continue and the price revisions are going to continue to come out the next couple of days.
Hey, Brandon, it's Josh. Good to see you. I wanted to ask you what percentage probability you would place on the idea that there's going to be some other vehicle through which Elon Musk expresses his next generation technology ideas away from Tesla. Maybe it's at Starlink, maybe it's at SpaceX generally, or maybe something we haven't thought of, like the Boring Company, that he files an LLC and they're off to the races. Is that like a big risk, and what percentage probability would you place on that risk?
I don't think it's a big percentage at all, because there are, like, full self-driving ultimately is where the AI technology is. And so he talked about on the call, no other automaker saying, hey, can we license your full self-driving? That is where all of the AI technology, that's where all the amazing engineers there. I think that is a low probability. To put some context, Josh, on your comment about what he said the other day about maybe I'm not going to be interested in doing AI or new projects here because I don't own enough of it. He was asked about that. And what he says is that, and I get it, but I mean, he sold the stock. He said, I don't want to have control. I want to have influence, because I don't want an activist shareholder who knows nothing about the name, except for it hasn't done well over X amount of time, coming in and exerting more control than he has. So I think over the next few months, the board's going to have to work something out, because Elon and Tesla are inextricably combined. You can't have one without the other, but I do not think he's going to take away from Tesla to just go innovate somewhere else, because it's too embedded in the FSD.
The benefits of a share buyback for Tesla investors are numerous, and so many people are looking forward to it. But the big question is, what will the timing be? When will Tesla be ready to finally buy back its shares? It's a pretty big question that's got analysts eagerly awaiting any hints or clues from Tesla's financial reports or strategic moves. You can see right here, Tesla's financial strategy has always been a subject of fascination for investors and industry experts alike, and now the anticipation is reaching new heights, and there's a lot of speculation going around. But let's not forget that there's a place for management decisions and industry analysis. For Tesla to do a share buyback, then, it absolutely means that it's an unavoidable strategy. And note that the automaker may prefer the traditional method of boosting stock price through increased earnings and revenue. While it has become more apparent that a share buyback could be a strategic move to boost shareholder value and increase stock price, there's no real assurance that Tesla would actually do it. Remember, Tesla's been making waves in the market, and it has managed to cement itself in a position as a forerunner in the industry, majorly because of its innovative electric vehicles and groundbreaking technological advancements. And this is something that Tesla may choose to leverage instead of doing a share buyback.
Why have you decided to deliver a $10 billion buyback shortly after you've signed a Labour contract that adds $9.3 billion to expenses over its term?
Well, as we looked at what was happening from a labor perspective, we had built, and really the labor environment going into our negotiations, we had put conservative estimates into our plan. So although it was a little higher than what we expected, we believe that we have, and our guidance for next year we've already said that we'll be able to offset that completely with the plan that we already had of a $2 billion cost out perspective. So we did the right thing to recognize our manufacturing team members who have done a great job and continue to build vehicles safely with high quality. And we also thought that we've got to look and make sure that we're balanced across all of our stakeholders, and our owners are very important. So we think this was a very balanced response when we look at what was done from a labor perspective and what we're doing as part of our capital allocation framework for our owners.
When it comes to investing in Tesla and considering a potential share buyback, investors should approach the decision with a sense of admiration and careful consideration. In fact, there are a few things that Tesla has got to consider before taking action on a potential share buyback. First up, the long-term investment strat requires a careful evaluation of a company's fundamentals, like taking into account various factors that could impact its future growth and profitability. Tesla is known for its innovation in the EV industry, and it's captured the imaginations of both investors and consumers. Its pioneering efforts in sustainable energy solutions have propelled it to become one of the most valuable companies in the world. However, before taking any action on a share buyback, investors must delve deeper into the company's financials and strategic decisions. Evaluating company fundamentals is essential to understand Tesla's current position and its ability to generate constant revenue for shareholders. And key aspects to consider could include revenue growth trends, profit margins, cash flow generation, debt levels, competitive landscape analysis, and management's track record. In addition to financial metrics, investors should also keep an eye out on Tesla's product pipeline and technological advancements, as the company's ability to innovate and stay ahead of the game could significantly impact its long-term prospects. Furthermore, understanding macroeconomic factors can influence Tesla's performance is crucial. Factors such as governmental regulations and electric vehicles or shifts in consumer preferences towards sustainable transportation can all shape Tesla's market position, so there is a need to take note of all these things. By carefully assessing these factors, while Tesla is actually accomplishing its own goals thus far, investors can actually make informed decisions regarding a potential buyback. This strategy is essential in striking a balance between admiration for the company's achievements and critical assessment of its future prospects before taking in any actions that could influence your marketing decisions. Overall, understanding the significance of Tesla's share buyback emphasizes its strong position in the market and its dedication to maximizing shareholder value. And it is indeed awe-inspiring as a move, and we look forward to seeing what Tesla will do in the long run. What do you think? Do you think that Tesla will buy back its shares anytime soon? Let us know down below, and don't forget to tell us what your valuation for Tesla is. And if you want to know more about what Tesla's been up to over the last few days, go ahead and click on this next video on your screen. See you there.